Hello you all, this is a tutorial on how I actually made it to where my bolt going back and forth is not as loud as a pair of corduroy pants when you cycle it. So as you can tell, that's pretty smooth. This is something that I did, this is not something I read on a forum or anything. I kind of thought outside of the barrel, so to speak, and I'm using this JB Bore cleaning compound, which is basically just like this a slight abrasive quality to it. I mean, you can't really tell by looking at it, but it's kind of like 1 million grit sandpaper, something crazy like that. For those of you that own an American Ranch, you probably are familiar with that sort of corduroy-like sound of when you cycle the bolt. It's like, it sounds like, you know, Megatron. It might be intentional for the design, but I hated it. It bothered me. It was so loud when I'd cycle the action. I felt like if I needed to be quiet, you know, loading the round would be a lot louder than that. But if I needed to be quiet, I couldn't be. So it is unloaded, as you can see. So this is the first step. All right. So we will remove the bolt from the gun, and all it is just this little button aside. You clean your action. You can do more detailed work than this, but I'm just doing a basic sort of rundown. And you can set the rifle aside and then focus more on the bolt. Just get all the debris off of it. Make sure you're not like cycling a bunch of coarse dirt in your action here. And because we're going to be cycling this, you know, many times, many hundreds of times. Like, this is definitely something you want to do away from people, because people will get extremely annoyed with the constant. Look how shiny that is now. I mean, this feels like butter smooth, and it used to feel. I mean, you can still see the lines right there. You can kind of see the lines, and those used. I mean, you can kind of hear them, but I mean, this feels miles above what it used to feel. Then what you want to do after you've cleaned the inside of your gun or the inside of the receiver is you want to dab a little bit, like all over the bolt, kind of get a nice even coating on there on all the parts that make contact with the receiver, and you know, even on the charging handle here, because this, like I said, this is like sandpaper, and what this is going to do is going to help it mate to your receiver, right? Pop it back on in there, and you're gonna feel. I mean, you can hear the sort of abrasive actions happening. So you literally are just going to be cycling it like this, however many times. I think it took me 300 or 400 cycles, just doing this over and over. And you want to definitely make sure and remove this compound after you're finished with it, and then also relubricate your gun. Make sure it hasn't gotten into your trigger area. That's all there is to it. It's as simple as that. JB Bore cleaning compound, and you know, it's definitely for your bore, and it's debatable on whether or not it works and does anything for your bore. Like, you know, there's some people out there that just say you're just wearing your barrel life down more, and there's some people that swear by it and say like it removes all the little jagged edges inside the bore and makes it easier to clean, and removes the pores inside of the bore, the pore bore. And I do believe that to be the case, but if you think about it, the rifling would be less sharp the more times you do this. So make sure and don't do this like every time, you know. I'll clean off the gun here and show you the inside of the receiver, what you can expect to see, because I don't want you, you know, saying like, oh, I ruined my gun. You know, I want you to know what you're getting into before you do this. It's basically like accelerating the wear of your rifle by years in a few in a few hundred cycles. This chamber is a pain in the ass to clean. I mean, I'll do that later, but I just wanted to remove the excess just so you could see what I'm talking about here. You can see those little lines in there, and that's where the finish is actually worn off inside the receiver. Definitely back here. That's actually like more along the lines of bare metal. It's like butter smooth though. Oh my gosh. And this is after me doing it, you know, like I said, hundreds of times. So if you don't want it to wear down that much and you just want to get it a little bit smoother, you know, play by ear. You know, however much is right for you. But I personally wanted mine butter smooth, and now I got mine butter smooth. This is called Ultra Lube. It's a white lithium grease, and it's actually a plant-based, as opposed to like a petroleum-based, whatever you want to call it, lubrication. A lot of people, you know, say white lithium grease is bad for guns, and I think it's not bad for guns at all. So just put like a little on there and then spread it around with your finger. Like with most lube, like if you have a little bit too much on there, it's not a big deal. It'll get worked in and it'll displace itself. But just kind of work it in, all the little spots that have wear patterns on them. Make sure you get those lubricated. I just kind of lubricate the whole thing. So keep in mind that it is actually accelerating the wear of your components. But like I said, the lines are probably for a reason, probably so it cycles better under dirtier conditions, you know, because if there's like little gaps, the dirt can slide into there and then kind of keep itself there while the action is still going back and forth. So I know there might be reasons for this. So if someone comes on here and says like, oh, you shouldn't have done that, like this is what I wanted my rifle to do. So if you don't want to hear like someone walking by your head like a foot away from you from the 90s or the 80s, just a pair of corduroy pants on, this is the solution. And I'm sure there are other solutions, but this was mine. Hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe, thumbs up, all that good stuff. Like. Have a good day, and I hope to see you in a future video. Thank you for watching.